Every 40 seconds, someone somewhere in the world dies of suicide. Suicide amounts to over 700,000 deaths in the world annually. This is by a report from WHO. I like to think of myself as a superhero. I wield the power of words to shine light in places where the darkness of mental health issues is prevalent. But sometimes, I myself need saving. So where does the rest of the world go when the superhero needs saving? Personally, I decide to write because I know that when I write, I do not just save myself, but I save other people too. Here is one of such poems I wrote at a dark period in my life. Every time someone mentions poetry and depression in the same sentence, my heart skips a beat. My brain goes like, damn, Keesh, there you go again. So I go to the College of Pretense and get a degree in clothing pain. The fabric doesn't fit. On some days, it slips off and the world is invited to see the naked truth. A little boy standing at the edge of a casket, wishing he could swap places with the corpse. Scratch that. A teenager at a party, wondering what combination of these drinks equals poison. Scratch that. A dreamer trapped in the body of a breathing nightmare. I'm always straddling the thin line between self hate and doubt. I'm always carrying sadness from backpacks to suitcases, from book pages to web pages. Self love is a penthouse I wish to own but can't afford. I get tired of saying this to my fam. Those who look at me and decide that I'm worth every gasp of air, every bit of love, every drop of blood. My mother proudly leads this army. The other day, my friend Talita suggested talking to a therapist. Hack. Talking to people became a luxury, so I talked to my notebook. You don't. I talk to my notebook. Poetry understands. Tells me this right here is therapy and I'm your best shot at life. Do what you must, but don't you dare give up on us. When the voices in my head go haywire, I scream for help on notebooks. Step aside and watch poetry sing them a lullaby to sleep. On some days, I step in front of the mic and I'm swept by a wave of anxiety. What is PTSD? How a poem I wrote will refuse an audience? What is PTSD? Living under a mother that has OCD while dealing with ADHD? What is PTSD? Post-traumatic speech disorder. For all the times I got a rejection, I turned the voices that say I can't into imagery too vivid to be forgotten. Doesn't matter if I have a terrible handwriting, I take my audience on a cruise to an ocean of possibilities enough to redefine penmanship. The relationship between stage and page in this poem, I mean my life, is that they are both metaphors for survival. I pick up the pen, I write, lay my fears down in alliteration as though I witnessed the annihilation of poverty alleviation, I write. Knowing fully well that the simile is just an emoji, sometimes shy of the name smiley, I write. Knowing fully well that no matter how far a bird flies, it will always find its way back to its nest. For all the wordplay that made me taken as a joke, I use these punchlines to beat the odds black and blue because I learned that no matter how far I run, I will always find my way back here. Poetry keeps calling, never stops calling, tells me go ahead, dream, scream, crawl, sprawl, cry, fly, laugh. But you better laugh, because the only hanging you do is hanging out with friends. The only overdose you have is an overdose of love. The only bullet you take is from the can in your hands. So when someone asks, what has speaking done for you? I remind them that my life is a metaphor for tragedy and the words are the comic relief. Once, I performed this poem to an audience and a girl, after my performance, began to cry. She said that this is what poetry used to do for her, but apparently she had lost the ability to write. Somehow, a few days later, she reconnected with me and said my poem gave her the inspiration to write, and I was grateful. And you see, this is the beautiful thing about light, that you can spark something in someone else's life while still holding yours, that you could give people the reason to live while still being yourself. So I like you to think of yourself as the light. When I say you're the light, what I mean to say is you're probably the reason why Thomas Edison didn't stop. When I say you're the light, what I mean to say is get lit and stay lit. When I say you're the light, like 60 seconds, I mean it. My name is Keesh Rowland, and I hope this poem and this piece as a whole inspires you to stay alive.